Hi, my name is Carrie Taminia, and welcome to your virtual ritual for the new moon in Gemini. If you're new to my work, I am a love and dating expert, author, speaker, and energy worker. As with all of my astro videos, we're going to start off by chatting a little bit about the major themes of this moon, and especially how this astrological time period can support and enhance your experience in your existing relationships, your dating life, and your relationship with yourself. New moons are perfect times for manifesting and for setting intentions for the time period moving forward. Think of the new moon like your blank slate for the time period that is to come. Typically, when we talk about new moons, we're talking about the time period between the new moon and the next full moon, which is about a month long. This new moon in Gemini, however, is the closest new moon that we're going to have to the upcoming summer solstice. That means that the intentions you set during this new moon or during this exercise that we do tonight are really going to set the stage for the next 3 months. It's a gorgeous opportunity to start to put some focus and some energy on where your time and your intention and your resources are going to be directed over the next 3 months. Now, Gemini, this Gemini new moon is particularly interesting because not only is today a new moon in Gemini, but Mercury, which is also in Gemini right now, is going to align with Venus, which is also retrograded in Gemini right now. And Gemini sun season started on Wednesday. So the Gemini themes right now are strong. And that alignment between Mercury and Venus retrograde, both in Gemini, might make this new moon feel a little bit more nostalgic than normal. So you might feel a pull to be reflective, especially around past relationships or past situations in your current relationship. That's okay, and that's a direct result of that alignment, but it doesn't change the fact that new moons, and this new moon is no exception, are moving you forward. So you want to make space to honor that feeling and that push to maybe be a little bit reflective, especially around the themes that are coming up. But do not mistake that as an invitation to look backwards. Looking backwards does not serve you. That's not where you're headed. You may have heard that phrase or that analogy before, and it's never been more true than it is right now. That nostalgia that's going to come up with this new moon is important for you because it's information, but it is not an invitation to focus on the past. It's an invitation to focus on how am I using where I came from and my past experiences to fuel a rebirth. How am I using where I've come from and the ways that perhaps my past was not able to honor me and who I really am? How am I using that to fuel my rebirth and to inform what I am becoming in the future? Because of that Mercury Venus alignment, along with this new moon all happening in Gemini, it's time to pay attention to some of those really quintessential Gemini themes that are going to come up. Gemini is the sign of communication, it's the sign of the twins, it's the sign of creativity and curiosity and duality. And what we're being asked as you also feel this kind of co inhabited pull toward, let me evaluate my past. And because of Venus retrograde, these elements or these memories or these experiences or reminders of my past are coming up. Gemini is really asking you to make sure that you are balancing that side of that nostalgic side of the coin with the future oriented side of the coin. There's nothing that happens in Gemini that is healthy and aligned that does not require balance. Because Gemini is the sign of duality, because it's the sign of the twins, it requires us, in order to show up in health in Gemini, it requires us to seek balance and to seek to see equally both perspectives, both sides of the coin. The creativity and curiosity and communication that come with Gemini, those big major themes of Gemini, are so important for this new moon. So as you set your intentions for the time period coming forward, you want to focus on, begin to ask yourself, how is my communication needing balance? How is my creativity needing balance? How is my curiosity needing balance? And that requires us to see not only that side of those coins, but their opposites as well. And it requires us to integrate both of those seemingly, opposing truths into our perspective shift, into our forward movement, into our future manifestation, and into the intentions that you're going to set in this workshop, this little ritual today. Because this is all about balancing perspectives for moving forward. All of your intentions that you set under this Gemini new moon really need to be ones that are seeking balance. Again, seeking the balance of that duality, both sides of the coin. Um, when it comes to communication, especially in your relationships, I want you to begin to think of or setting intentions around, where do I need to communicate more in my connections and in my relationships? Where do I need to speak up more? Where do I need to use my voice? Gemini is a vocal sign. Where do I need to communicate? And at the same time, where do I need to listen? And again, under this sign of Gemini, the experience of communication is one that requires both sides. It is one that requires duality. So you cannot ask the question of, where do I need to communicate and where do I need my voice to be more and show up more and be heard, without also requiring yourself to ask, where do I need to listen more? Where do I need more silence in my relationships? Where does the other person that I am with or creating a relationship with need to also be heard by me, as I also embrace my need to communicate and empower myself through communication in my relationships? In your life and in your relationships, where do you need more creativity? What are your intentions or your experiences going to be moving forward around creativity? And on the inverse side of that, where do you need more rest? Creativity is a space and an energy that makes moves. It makes moves forward. It is in motion. It is exploratory. It is seeking solutions. And that is such a valuable, valuable quality in our relationships and in our lives. But under the sign of Gemini, the balance comes from, where do I seek more creativity? Where do I need to set intentions around being more creative, more forward about finding solutions and seeking solution? And where do I need stillness? Where do I need rest? Where do I need to pause that forward motion and just simply be still with myself? And finally, where do we need to set more intentions and focus on having more curiosity? Gemini is a deeply curious sign. And so where could your relationships or your dating life or your life in general benefit from greater curiosity, more genuinely curious energy? And on the inverse of that, where do you need to stop and integrate what you already know is true? So for me, on the inverse of curiosity, especially when it comes to relationships, is sometimes there is deep value in not seeking new solutions and not trying to find the next big answer, the next big thing, but simply pausing and asking, where can I value and where can I honor what I already know is true and what I already have learned and what already has been shown to me? And as human beings, it can be so tempting, especially in our relationships, to always want the next new thing. And yet sometimes that hinders us from really settling into the truth that we've already gathered, we've already learned, and we've already collected. So again, I'm just going to review those really briefly if you're jotting those down. Where do I need to set intentions around communication? And where do I need to listen? Where do I need to set intentions around more creativity? And where do I need to rest or be still? And finally, where do I need more curiosity in my relationships or in my life? And where do I need to pause and integrate what I already know is true? And in the same vein, if we talk about your relationship and your interaction with yourself, which from my line of work and from my professional perspective is a deeply integral part to the health of your relationships, whether you're in one or whether you're dating, is what parts of your inner self, and this is the final question that I want you to consider or jot down, what parts of your internal self do you need to give voice to? Where is your self-love needing some vocal action? Where do you need to be heard in order to care for yourself better? And on the inverse of that, what parts of yourself need to be listened to? What parts of yourself have you ignored or quieted in the name of comfort, perhaps, or acceptance, perhaps, or not rocking the boat, perhaps, that you need to pause and listen more deeply to? And with our relationship with ourselves and with all of our relationships, Gemini comes with this new moon and with all of these planets kind of acting in this sign. Gemini comes with big, giant lessons around that balance, around that active and reflective balance. And when we think about communication, we think about the twins, we think about duality and togetherness, really, really, that shift of perspective, that it isn't all or nothing, that there's never one perspective. We're never asked to pursue in its entirety one energy or one way of being. That duality can be deeply freeing. And how can you support that duality? Via balance in your relationships with others and your relationship with yourself. And so as you consider these questions, I would love it if you would join me in a short meditation before I offer you some time to set and write down some intentions. And I want to lead you in a meditation to just very simply center yourself with your heart and to begin to seek some of the answers to those questions that we've posed from the higher power of your understanding, from your own internal sense of truth and knowing. Making sure that you are in a comfortable position, sitting or lying, whatever way feels best for you. I simply want you to take one hand and place it over your heart space. You can do two if it's more comfortable. Close your eyes for me and just take a few deep breaths. In through your nose and out through your mouth. Following the cues of your own body. There's no need to count or extend anything any further than feels absolutely comfortable. And as you pause, perhaps for the first moment today, continue to breathe. Keeping eyes closed. Becoming aware of your breath as you send it down into your lungs. Breathing deeper, sending it down into your belly. Exhaling through the mouth at a comfortable rate. I want you to begin to imagine that your breath is coming in through your hand. And on the inhale, imagine that breath comes through your hand and into your heart space. And then exhale through your mouth. Continuing to imagine that in-breath coming through your hand and into your heart space. And as that breath moves through your heart space and then out through the exhale through your mouth, imagine it collecting, taking within any stagnant energy, any resistance. Imagine your breath as it comes in through your heart, collecting any pain, any unresolved emotions. Exiting your body and your heart space with your exhale. As your breath cleanses your heart space, I want you to feel how much more relaxed your body feels. Sense the extra space in your heart, in your belly, under your ribs, as old energy is breathed out with the power of your intention and your breath. Feel a sense of lightness come over your body as you breathe more deeply and more slowly than you normally do, allowing the breath to enter your heart space and then exit through your mouth. And as this sense of calm and peace comes over your body, as you continue to breathe, continue keeping eyes closed. I want you to imagine finding yourself standing in a sacred space intended for your healing. This place can be somewhere you've been before. It could be somewhere you haven't been before. It might be somewhere that exists on this planet, and it might be somewhere that does not exist on this planet. However your sacred space appears is absolutely correct. Know in the depths of your being that this space is intentional for you. It was created here with your intention and with your breath for your healing. You are safe here, and it feels familiar and comfortable. And as you enter this space, I want you to imagine that your higher self, your soul, meets you there. And imagine standing across from this part of you, from the other side of your coin, the rest of your being, the highest and best version of yourself. And this part of you is both separate and fully you. And as you stand across from your higher self, from your soul, I want you to begin to feel the connection between your heart and your higher self's heart. Feel the connection that is already there. And take a moment and ask your higher self, to send or show you whatever it is that you need the most right now. And receive that answer however it appears to you. Perhaps you receive light or energy. Perhaps you're shown a picture or given an object, a word or a thought. Knowing that your soul holds your highest truth and your best interest in mind always. Receive that answer of what you need the most right now under this Gemini new moon, in this season moving forward. What do you need the most? What do you need to know the most? Receiving that answer with deep gratitude from your soul. And standing here in this sacred space, I want you to imagine that from the very top of the universe, from the source of all that is, from the very center of the divine, you bring down white universal light energy, flowing from source down through the top of your head, filling your body, every cell, every space, from the top to the bottom, all the way to the bottoms of your feet and the tips of your fingers. And in your next breath, imagine bringing up energy from the very center of the earth. Deep, dark, grounding energy up from the center of the earth through the bottoms of your feet, filling your body, every cell, every space, from the bottom up to the very top of your head. And as you receive both of these powerful energies, imagine them commingling, spiraling, circling around your heart space and underneath of your hand. Imagine them filling your heart space with equal force and equal energy, bringing a sense of balance, bringing a sense of peace, bringing inspiration and groundedness, bringing rest and curiosity, stillness and creativity, bringing voice and listening. And as you continue to imagine these universal and earth energies spiraling under your hand, balancing your heart space, I want you to feel and sense the energy of balance, of peace, of calm as it fills your body. Know that this energy is yours to keep. It is inherently accessible to you. It belongs to you. Pay attention to how it feels in your body to hold the ultimate example of balance. Continuing to breathe comfortably, deeply, and slowly. Feel for a moment a sense of great and divine love. Coming from Source, your highest self, and into your body. And may it remind you of the deep connection you have with not only everything that is beyond you, but every other person on this human planet. And the greatest balance is the balance of all of us. Very gently coming back to your body and leaving that sacred space, sending gratitude to Source and your highest self. Begin to feel present in your physical being again. Continuing to breathe while you take your other hand, 2 or 3 fingers, and place them between the knuckle of your pinky and the knuckle of your ring finger of the hand that's over your heart, gently pressing that soft spot between those 2 knuckles and repeating after me. There are parts of me that have been healed by this. And there are parts of me that have not yet been healed. The parts of me that have not yet are willing to learn from the parts that have. My mind, body, spirit, and energy system are accepting that information now. New neural pathways. The information transfer I am grateful. Thank you. Together, divine. One more deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Dropping your hands and opening your eyes when you feel ready. And now, while you're fresh off of that meditation, feeling balanced and loved and connected, now is the perfect opportunity to take some time to set some intentions for yourself around the themes that we discussed earlier in the video. In the comments of this video or in the description of this video, I will include those themes in written form if it's easier for you to see them, as well as some specific journaling questions that can help guide your intention setting for this season. I hope that you found this calming and supportive, and I cannot wait to see what you manifest using your intentions around balance, creativity, communication, and curiosity. Remember that astrology is a guide, not a box. And whatever opportunities present themselves during this time period for your growth and your evolution and your learning, it's a perfect time to seize them. Thank you so much for spending this time with me.